What's up guys, Lifting here. It's been a long day. I just got home from my workout, but I wanted to get this video out because some of you guys have been checking out my occultist video that I put out just the other day and have been following the belt and asked me, dude, why the hell are you wearing a bow now and a quiver? And that is simply because I've been doing some experimentation. I am now a bow blade Vortex occultist. And that's not to say that the old build isn't fine, it's completely fine. I used that and did Uberlap very efficiently with it. But I wanted to try something out, something I've always been very curious about and interested in, and that was to try and really abuse the Wicked Ward occultist node. The thing that makes it so that once you start to reach an energy shield, it won't be interrupted by damage, and even if when you get to full energy shield it will keep recharging for a couple of seconds. So with Legacy League now allowing us to get legacy items, that allows me to find an old item I've been wanting to try for this, and that was a legacy Soul Strike quiver, and I'm gonna show you the gear here first. But let's start with the bow. I'm using a Dark Scorn bow. And the thing that's nice about the Dark Scorn is that 25 of my physical damage is converted to chaos damage. That makes my my poison, my damage over time a little more efficient. It's a little harder to resist, etc. However, what I really like about it too, that makes me very tanky, is that 25% of physical damage taken as chaos damage. Now, in almost any case, it would kind of suck to take it as chaos damage because you can't resist that, you can't mitigate that. But because this character is a CI character, we're basically immune to chaos damage. So this bow here by itself basically makes us take 25% less physical damage because it simply doesn't go in now. So it's really cool. It makes us very, very tanky, and it's great against Isaro in his physical attacks, and I guess for anything that deals physical damage, even the spike instant traps and things like that. But what I'm really excited about is the Soul Strike quiver here, as I talked about. And when you look at this, you're like, what's interesting about this? Attack speed, we don't need that. Energy shield, okay, that's nice. And reduced energy shield recharge rate, that's not good. But the 150% faster start of energy shield recharge is, first of all, there's nothing in the game that is even remotely close to that number that can give you that. The non-legacy version gives you 80% faster, and that is still miles and miles ahead of any other item that can give you a faster start of recharge. I think it's 20 for the Brittle Barrier jewel, but anyway, this here makes it so that our energy shield, once we take damage, it will start to recharge much, much faster. And then that combination with the Wicked Waters I was talking about makes it so that the damage is not interrupting this. This means that, for instance, when you look at my fight against Isaro here, I'm not doing anything, I'm not pressing any potions, I haven't cursed him or anything like that. This is just me standing there, not being able to get killed by Isaro or Argus, even when he enrages. And as you guys know, if you've been doing Uberlap, you know that Argus hits like a fucking truck. And besides this, it just makes it so that anytime I take some damage from a trap, I am almost always, starting to regen before I take damage from the next one. Obviously, things such traps that will give you damage over time and things like that, that's not gonna help against it because you can't start to recharge while you're continuously taking damage. But you really have to fuck up very, very much if you want to die to traps when using this setup here. And I actually didn't pay more than, I think I paid 23 chaos for the Soul Strike quiver here. Now obviously me mentioning this, maybe it will go up in price, but at the same time it is not something that a lot of people are doing. It is kind of niche, so maybe it will remain low. Now to further amplify this, and I haven't done this, I will show this off in a future video. What I will be doing is that I will be getting 2 new rings, and on those rings I'll be using the Leo mod. Yes, I have to level up Leo or find someone who has it. Because with Leo you can craft 20% faster energy shield recharge rate on each ring, so that's 40% more. Then on top of that, I am of course also using the essence search up here in the skill tree. I talked about that in the previous video, that's nice too. And if you want to push it even further, and I want to try this, but I'm not sure if it's going to be good or worth it, you can use the brittle barrier jewel. Now the problem with this thing is you will take 10% more damage when you are on full energy shield, and in most cases it's always, you know, one-shots that are dangerous in Path of Exile. But when you are energy shield based, that by itself is kind of protecting you against one-shots because you have that massive energy shield pool, and it is 20% faster start, and it is only when you're on full. So I want to see how fast we can get it and when it starts to not feel good. So the downside to this is of course that Dark Scorn does not give you any sick damage like a good wand would do. It doesn't give you the explosions that the obliteration wand does. However, you still get it from Profane Bloom, of course. It's just, yeah, much less likely to happen. That's a downside. Also, it has a fairly high dexterity requirement, meaning you have to get that on your gear to make it work. But besides that, it just makes you so tanky. It allows you for that Soul Strike quiver, and I really like this setup so far. The problem is when you take damage very rapidly. Let's say there is, I'm gonna show you it in this example here. I'm just standing there tanking some damage from Isaro and minions. The problem here is that I continuously keep getting hit. However, Isaro, and I don't have a footage of this, but Isaro alone cannot kill me either when I do this, because he's not hitting fast enough to get my energy shield down. If he had full charges, then probably, but still, you have to be a little careful with very rapid hitting. And that's also why I don't think it's necessarily the best thing to do if you go into mapping. If you were to go mapping, there are other setups, but I'll talk a bit about that and show it off in a different video too. Now, since the last video, I've also upgraded some of my rare gear. My rings are better, my amulet, my boots, and I've gotten a pretty nice chest too. It can get better, and we're gonna try pushing it a bit more, but I still consider this a budget build at this point in time, maybe with the exception of the chest here. This cost me 50 KS, I think. But you could get something close to the power of this for 30 or 20 if you look the right place, right? RMT. No, don't do that. And I've changed my Valerium ring to Kiara's Determination. This works really great when you are doing Uberlap, because you kind of know when you're gonna get stunned and you have time to react, things like that. However, it doesn't work too well in situations where there's very rapid and very frequent stuns. So a Valerium ring or an IF Kayula may be better for mapping. It's one thing to consider. I'm using the Witchfire brew now, but for fights where Isaro is really dangerous, for instance Essences and Charge Disruptors together where he really hurts, then I am still self-casting Enfeeble, but for the most part that's not necessary at all. And I'm trying to work on a cast when damage taking setup together with Immortal Coal that will give me enough duration on the Immortal Coal to last, so that my energy shield will simply start to recharge before I can take damage again. But I may have to figure out something with some endurance charges to increase the duration enough for this. But that could potentially make it very powerful. And the skill tree is pretty much the same. I am debating speccing out of Charisma down here and using an Enlightened gem instead. I haven't really decided if I want to do that. It's not necessary. I am pretty excited about this build, as you can probably hear. What I want to try too is I want to get 2 Breath of the Council maces and dual wield those for some really powerful boosts to both area of effect and damage over time, chaos damage. That is gonna be with the intention of potentially trying to kill Shaper and Guardians, things like that. I'm not sure I have enough damage with the Dark Scorn to do something like that. And another thing I want to try too is a Delirium bow instead of the Dark Scorn. I obviously lose the 25% physical damage taken as chaos, which is nice, but a Delirium weapon could add a lot of damage to the setup. And it would also allow me to craft some resistances or something like that on the rare bow, which would make my gearing easier, since I'm not reliant on, you know, attack speed or anything like that. But that's what I wanted to show you guys. Once I've gotten my gear upgraded, the rings, maybe gotten myself a 6th link, the Breath of the Council, and the Delirium bow, then I'll make a new video and show it off. The build details are in the description of the video. I still consider this a budget-friendly build. You don't have to use the Dark Scorn here. You can simply dual-wield Obliteration Wands or an Obliteration Wand and a Decay weapon in the other one for more damage. Overall, I'm just very happy with how this build has turned out so far. Thank you for watching, and bros, do you even